Good evening and welcome to the latest edition of Red Army TV here in the Red Army Radio studios. Also, we're on Facebook Live and we're also on Teesside TV Freeview Channel 7 and Virgin Media Channel 159. Got two fantastic guests as always here at Red Army. Got the legend that is Mr. Dave Roberts. Good evening, Dave.
Now then, mate, how are you?
And I've got Foxy in the box. Foxy, you're back. How's it going, mate? All right.
Fantastic, great. Good evening.
Fellas.
Good evening.
Look, international break.
Yeah, sick of them.
Yeah, it seems it's been a longer one with England playing on the Friday night and the Monday. It seems that it's been a long international break. But look, before we start talking all things Boro, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room. It's been all over. Yeah, it's been all over.
I'm losing weight, mate.
It's been all over social media, all over everyone else's networks. Obviously, England, fantastic 6-0 win at Bulgaria. Mad by the scenes that we've seen. I want to have a little chat about that, and I want to link it in with our Boro days. But also, look, Dave, I'm going to start with you. You've reported on football from Division 3 down at, in England and all over the world.
Yeah.
Have you seen some stuff like this before?
Yeah, I have, sadly. I've seen it all over the world, different continents. I've seen it in Europe, across Europe. Look, we had our problems, back in the 80s. People would bring the bananas to feed the black players on the field, and as wrong as it was right in our own backyard.
Yeah.
Thankfully, education has improved the situation in the UK, but we're still not there here. Let's not for one moment.
Well, look,
as disgraceful as the scenes were in Sofia, let's not for one moment try and take the higher ground, because we still have problems in this country. But it was a disgrace, absolute disgrace.
Look, Foxy, there's no place for anything like that, in my opinion, in society, let alone in sport or football. Look, mate, we shall I say we're the older type of Boro fans, shall we say?
Yeah.
Look, we've been at Ayresome Park, and
bit harsh,
just like Dave, I've seen it as well, mate.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
And we've had our problems as a club, let alone as England fans, haven't we?
Yeah. I mean, I think the point you've touched on there is it's an issue with society, and it kind of seems as if for a while we got away from it, but I don't know whether we actually did. I don't know whether it's somehow we've managed to mask the problem, because it is in England still. We were talking off air about it, and you mentioned about the Bulgarian coach saying, look, don't sort of make it our issue, get your own house in order. And I kind of think that's a easy way to get out of it, because it's not one of these conversations where you wait for somebody else to sort it out. You sort it out and make a precedent about it, and other people then get in line and follow it. But yeah, it's a poor showing, and it was a worry again in England, in Bulgaria the night, because it could have turned really nasty. And if those players had walked off the pitch, UEFA are already trying to blame us for stuff. Where would that have gone?
Yeah,
I mean, we've been reported twice. And I don't get this booing the national anthem, but we're going to get done for that. We're going to get done for having not enough stewards, apparently, looking after the England fans that went across.
I mean, that's any excuse, that, for me, isn't it, to blame? There's just anything with England. We've had so much trouble in Europe with fans getting stabbed over the years with Champions League games, and it never seems as if anything really gets done. But the minute it happens, or there's a slight issue in England, they jump on it.
Dave, I mean, look, UEFA brought this three-phase, I like to say like a three-strike and you're out, really, but it's three-phase attack from the referee. We've seen the referee twice stop the game, speak to managers, players, officials. Are UEFA doing enough, Dave?
No, they're not. And what I was really surprised at, though, Mark, is this is not new. They've had this procedure to follow for quite some time, but it just hasn't been followed. And I think there was a lot of talk in the build-up to this game. There was a lot of expectation, negatively, that a racist element will be at the game, because let's not forget they had 15% of their ground already closed for this game because of the problems they had in the previous match. So I just think it was highlighted so much and it became so high profile, UEFA felt they had to do something about it. Now, the referee's supposed to go, 1, we make a stadium announcement. 2, we take the players off the field, make another stadium announcement. And 3, after that, we just take the players off the field and they don't come back again. That is the policy that was supposed to be followed. After the 2 strikes, the players weren't taken off the field. The referee asked England if they wanted to carry on playing or not. They gave the decision back to England to make the decision. As it was, we were playing so well, We were obviously cruising in the game. The players decided we're going to carry on. That is not control. That is not leadership by UEFA, is it? That's just...
It's cop out.
It's a cop out. What they should do now is they should get hold of Bulgaria and say, sorry, but you've lost your next 2 games, or something like that.
That's a good point, and I was just going to ask
you.
Make
a massive
influence.
influence.
What would have happened if that game we were getting beat 1-0 and we decided to take the players off? Would then that result still have stood? You know what I mean? How does that work as a protocol?
And what happens when fans get smart and their team is losing, they suddenly realise,
start using it.
We'll start throwing some racist abuse towards players here, and they're going to walk off the field. So we've avoided a defeat. They've got to come down hard.
We did have that years ago, didn't we? When people would try and get games called off when they were getting beat, and it was pitch invasions then, if you remember, early late 90s and stuff. And that went on for a little bit. I don't know how that got eradicated, but that's a great point. It's the same thing.
Well, look, fellas, I've got a little bit more to talk about. Well, let's just have a look on social media. Ibram Tanner's been in. Good evening, Ibram. He's a top fan, always contributes. He says he used to stand the Aldgate when players of colour had bananas thrown at them.
Yeah.
I remember John Fashanu picking one up and eating it.
It was a fantastic response.
Yeah, it was a great response by the player. And obviously, you know, it sticks in people's mind to this day, Dave, doesn't it? We've got... Ibrahim's come back on and said he hates the international break. So do we, mate.
Absolutely.
So do we. Stu Gawley's put England's reputation is what the governing bodies go by.
What does he mean by that?
I don't know what he means by that, because does he mean by the 80s reputation, Dave? You know, yes, we had the old hooliganism.
The hooligan reputation used to follow us around, and it still does to this day. There was trouble in Sofia before the game, after the game, and we saw those. And when you saw the pictures of the riot police charging at the England fans, and I think that's a disgrace. That drags down any reputation that we had.
Yeah.
But from a racial perspective, a racist perspective, I was at the stadium, Stade de Loom in Sunderland. I almost call it what I normally call it, but we're on TV, so I can't. I was working for TalkSport. This was a long time ago. It was World Cup qualifiers, and we were playing Turkey at Sunderland. Was it Turkey?
Yeah.
And there was expected to be a lot of crowd trouble. So I'm outside and inside the ground. And what I heard from England fans in the Stadium of Light was disgraceful. And it was racist chanting on that night. So, we are guilty as well at times. But I don't think we have a racial or a racist reputation. I think it's more of a hooligan reputation that follows us around.
So my last point, fellas, and I knew that this is look, it's a topical debate. You know, and like I've said, we've suffered it at our club as well, early part, and I'm old enough to have seen it. But I'll go back to the education, Dave. Now, we were chatting off air. FIFA and UEFA is a multi-billion pound company. It is, you know, we're talking Formula One money. The education has got to be across the board, mate, hasn't it? Not just the English FA doing their bit, Scottish FA doing their bit, Bulgaria bit doing their... Should this not be a FIFA, UEFA thing, saying there's the money, here's the format, this is what we do, no ifs or buts, everybody the same.
I'll let you into a little story, the pair of you. I went across to FIFA headquarters to do some filming for ESPN in America about 18 months ago. And we were sitting down with the president of FIFA in Zurich, in FIFA headquarters, and we did the interview. And I took across me, there's a guy in Norton who came up, he's a marketing guy, and he came up with an anti-racism, an anti-discrimination campaign, which he wanted me to give to the president of FIFA, which I did. So at the end of the interview, switched everything off. I went across and said, Mr. President, this might be something of interest to you. It's an anti-racist, anti-discrimination campaign. And he took it from me and said, thanks. Do you know what? We never even received a thank you, but no thanks. So has it just gone straight into the bin? Have they looked at it? Who knows? But I tell you what, they could do with it now from an education perspective.
We had kick racism out of football for a while, didn't we? I remember seeing those posters.
It's still there, but you know, you don't hear much from it unless there's a problem.
There's an issue.
And then Sky and BBC get people on the phone and all that sort of stuff from the organisation.
I just think that, you know, from a FIFA UEFA perspective, and Abraham's been back on and he said, look, you know, I think UEFA have been cowardly. I've got to agree with him. You know, it's okay saying things, it's putting things into practice. I just think that it should start at grassroots level, and I think it should be starting at grassroots level in every single country from FIFA and UEFA, not just this is because I think we're all not singing on the same song sheet, mate.
There's 208 nations in the FIFA football family. Not all of them can afford education programs, but FIFA can.
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, look. I promise you, we are going to talk Boro.
We've held it off long enough.
We're going to talk Boro. But look, you've heard what the guys have to say in the studio. Get in touch with us on social media. Join us after this short break on Red Army TV. Welcome back to Red Army TV. I've got Dave and Foxy in the studio with me. Look, fellas, we spoke loads. But just quickly go to the social media and we'll finish this off, and I promise we will talk. But Philip Andrews been in the 3-step protocol, which we spoke about just before the break, was introduced 10 years ago. It was implemented for the first time on Monday, even as recent as last year. Black players leaving the pitch because of abuse were booked by referees.
Yep.
Great points there, Phil's made. 10 years that's been in.
I think Sully Muntari got sent off. Used to play in England a while ago for walking off, and the referee sent him off. I'm sure that's right.
I remember a player walking off. Was it Italy?
Yeah.
And he got done. He got done by the FA for leaving the field of play.
Anyway. Last one, Stuart Wallace. I've noticed any form of racial behaviour whilst watching rugby, athletics or cricket. I've not noticed any form of racial behaviour while watching rugby, athletics, cricket. So it is a football problem or a section of society that follow football. So, yeah, basically echoing what we said, isn't it? It's an educational thing. But anyway, fellas,
there has been a little bit of it in rugby recently, though, because there's been a couple of stories about it of racism, but nothing on this level.
But this is a show for football, mate, where people who are, skilled. Rugby players, not some. Anyway, listen, you're getting me into it.
Wrong shape ball, anyway.
Wrong shape ball. Let's get back to Boro.
Yeah.
Obviously, international break, Foxy. Did it come at the right time for us, bearing in mind our last result?
Yes, and it's the short answer. I think that whatever the problems are and the issues are now need eradicating now, because if this was to happen in February or March, we would be looking at a relegation battle. But I just think these are teething problems, and as we've discussed before, I think it's a couple of things. I think it's fitness levels, I think it's just getting the formation right and the personnel right in the right positions. But I don't think that he needs to be walking the plank yet. So yes, because I think if we'd have got out with the dire performance that there was a Birmingham game with a result, I think it could have slightly papered over cracks that need to be exposed, and this is the right time to do it. So yeah, it did, definitely.
Dave, echo them sort of same thoughts?
I'm getting concerned. I always said let's write the season off, but I want to see us mid-tabled and we see him progress as a manager. We see green shoots of development, of progressing, of moving forward. I'm not seeing them now, and that's what concerns me. We've got a massive test coming up. You can't get a bigger test than top of the table coming to the Riverside.
No, well, I was just going to say, look,
and we could be turned over massively if he hasn't done the homework and if he hasn't done the preparation right over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, mate, there you stole me thunder. Obviously, top of the league, West Brom, coming to the Riverside Stadium. We're 20th in the league. West Brom, last time out, I think it was a 4-2 win against Cardiff.
Yeah.
We got on against Cardiff.
Yeah.
And obviously us, that dire display against Birmingham. Dave, do you think it's all or nothing now? Do you think we'll set up a proper 4-3-3 and have a go at home?
I don't know what he's going to set up. What I'd like him to start doing is, and this goes completely against what I was hoping from him, I'd like him to start steadying the ship, because we can't go on leaking daft goals in the last 5-10 minutes, losing games. We've got to start making ourselves that little bit stiffer at the back, and we've got to stop conceding, and then we've got to start building from there. So whether he's going to play a 4-3-3, whether we're going to see I don't think we'll see a 4-4-2 with him, but we might restrict ourselves to just one striker again. There's every chance that might happen. I mean, I've heard people talking about 4-1-4, what is it, 4-1-4-1s and all that sort of stuff. there's so many permutations of formations. It's baffling. But I think he's a simple guy who likes football played in a simple way. Yes, he wants to attack, but I think he's got to learn the lesson that we can't keep shipping goals.
And we need support on the flanks. We need the fullbacks covering, and that's where it's got to start, because the rot will stop there. And teams are picking that out on us, and they know that's a weak spot. As you said, whatever the formation it is that comes up, I personally would look at a 4-4-2 in a defensive setup just to give that support. But again, I don't think formations are where they were 10-15 years ago. I think it's about partnerships, and you get that right and your mate will work for you, and the rest will come into sync. But the rot needs stopping. But it wouldn't surprise me if you turn them over. I know we say things on this show and stuff like that, but Leeds, we were talking about getting beat at Millwall last time out, which is it. How's that happening? But the one thing that I was just going to say on that was, do you think this result may be different if we were away from home? Do you think there's going to be pressure on us being at home straight away with the fans? Or do you think they might think, as we're talking, well, it's West Brom, we'll turn up and watch a game? Well,
just all that thought, fellas, because we've got guys are coming in with all the stuff on the Boro now. Ibrahim Tanner's put, at what point do we start getting the plank out? I want Woody to succeed, but as Dave says, we aren't seeing any improvement. Stu Gorley saying, and this might be a good point, bring Stuani back, play him as a forward.
I'd love to see that.
Novel idea, eh?
Love that. Great stuff. But we have seen little glimpses, because Bristol City is nowhere near it's a difficult place to go to.
It was a great performance.
We could have come out there with a win, and I just think that's why I'm holding on to something, because I've seen it. I do. There is a part of me that really does agree with where you're coming from. We've got to start.
Do you know what the danger is for me? I've seen that. We saw Luton. Great performance at Luton. We should have won it 4-2.
Yeah, I know what you're
But the longer you go without decent performances being stitched together, and the longer you go without points being brought in, confidence levels drops, self-belief drops.
Yeah.
And those brighter moments that we've talked about, that we've already seen, become slimmer and slimmer and further and further apart.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dave was talking about the defence there. Tony Guesty, great to see you watching the show, mate. Guesty said, I can see Shotton, Fry, Ayala and Friend back as the norm for a while if Friend's fit. Would that shot... I never thought I would sit here on Red Army TV, bearing in mind what I was saying last season, and say I want Friend back in that back four at the minute. Do you agree with that, Dave?
That's a toughie, because I thought his legs had gone. I thought we'd seen the best of George Friend. I was expecting him to move in as one of the centre-halves, one of the two centre-halves. I thought that's what the rest of his season/career with the Boro was going to be spent. But Coulson's still not there. We'd like to see him back, that exciting youngster, as a bit of a wing-back. Might force then George inside. But yeah, until the injuries are over, yeah, maybe it is just to stabilise the ship a little bit, just to steady that ship. Friend coming back in with that experience he's got.
I can confirm, and it's on the Middlesbrough official website, that young Coulson is going to be playing in an under-23s game in the not-so-near future. So hopefully, touch wood, he will be back for the first team. Maybe Saturday, maybe a bit too early.
Yeah.
But he is going to be playing for the under-23. So that's a bit of an added bonus, isn't it, Foxy?
Yeah, it is. I mean, because he did look exciting. But I just think the problem's on the other side too. I think Shotton's the problem too. So even if you get the left-hand side right, then we're just going to pummel the right-hand side. I don't think...
Well, if Coulson comes in, what's going to happen is George could move inside. So you've then got... You can choose two. You can choose 2 out of 3. Out of Friend, Friend, Fry or Ayala, so you've got 2 out of 3. And you might move Shotton back to the right-back position. Dale Fry's played there. Yeah, I know it's a weakness. And
Dale Fry, though...
Bowler's just not cutting it there, is he, at the moment? He's still developing.
But do you think he would do with a bit of support there, with somebody who's going to work really hard in front of him and cover him? Would you play Howson out wide right and cover him? Is that an option?
What we aren't going to do on here is we're not going to be... have a go at Ryan Shotton, because obviously the Red Army Rambler is Mr. Phil Bullock from our social show,
who started the Ryan Shotton Appreciation Society on Facebook.
He has. Really? He's got his own page now.
Really?
Yeah.
The Ryan Shotton Appreciation page. So look, if you're a Ryan Shotton fan, go on that, click on it, whatever you do on Facebook, and join that group. But look,
very small group. You'd be on your own with that, maybe. Sorry, Phil.
Look. Fellas, it is going to be a tough task, isn't it? West Brom at home. Do we think, Dave, the players, and bear in mind, we've had this massive international break, what seems like a massive international break. Woody said today in a press conference that he's had some of the guys back, some guys are back tomorrow, but they've all come back motivated, fit. There's something going around on social media. Lewis Wing scoring a fantastic goal in training.
Yep, saw that.
But as Foxy said, and it's not me, it's Foxy told me on the way just before we came on air. Is that all as Boro fans we've got to talk about?
Yeah.
A great goal scored in training, Dave?
If it is, it's a bit sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It really is. It's slim pickings at the moment as Boro fans. I hate to be the bringer of doom, gloom and despondency, but I am genuinely worried. And we've got this massive game. It's a massive game. I know you were saying people might already have written us off at the weekend against West Brom. But it is a massive game because if they were to turn us over big time, then the pressure's really on. But if we were to put up a half-decent display against the top-of-the-table team, it lifts confidence, it builds self-belief, it gives you that boost that you need when you're struggling, when things are just not going right. So let's hope we've got a little Huddersfield on Wednesday. Let's hope we can take something out of the weekend and we add to just a goal that was scored in training to talk about.
Yeah. Well, what I will say, fellas, is we're nearly out of time. Obviously, big game at the Riverside on Saturday. Dave, I'll come to you first. Prediction for me?
My head and heart are miles apart. Oh, I'm a poet, and I don't know it. I'm going to go for a 2-0 West Brom win.
Oh, God.
It's the first time I've gone against Boro this season.
Pass for the first time ever. I'm not going to talk.
You've
Pass.
got to.
Right.
I can't call it. I can't. My head and my heart are wrong every week. Well, yeah, we're arguing. We're having an internal argument all the time about this. It wouldn't surprise me if Boro all of a sudden pulled out a result. It really wouldn't, because this league's notorious for crazy results, and West Brom are due a defeat. But, as you've said, it wouldn't surprise me if we got beat, if there was 6 put past us and we're walking out of there crying again. So,
and on that note, fellas, I'm going to go for 1-0.
I'll go 1-1.
Foxy's going for 1-1. I'm going for 1-0 Boro win.
Love that.
See you all next week on Red Army TV.